Welcome to Toffee Blue View, your source for all things Everton. I'm Gerry, and it's been a while since I'm saying this, but Max and Terry are not here. I mean, what do you think they do? They record with me all day? No, they don't. They have lives. Important things are happening for Terry and Max today. I'm not going to say what they are because it's frankly none of my business. I know what it is, but it's still not my business. But so they're not around. But we have a new person in the chair today. Thomas is joining us, and for those of you who follow the Toffee Blues website or the Twitter account, you may recognize the name Thomas because Thomas writes content for the Toffee Blues website, but additionally he live tweets games often for us and gets all the social media involvement.
Yeah.
And this is so Thomas, welcome, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So quick little story for people that are listening. I think it was maybe half a year ago. I think I was at the beach when I got a random message from a really nice guy who was reaching out and saying, I'd like to come on sometime to talk about Everton, talk about football. And I said, well, you seem like a really nice guy. Let me talk to the powers that be, because I'm not the decision maker, because I'm just an old man. and actually it was looked on favorably. So Thomas was that guy. Spoiler alert. Yeah. So it's really cool that Thomas has basically come in and worked hard and helped us out so much. And now he's coming on kind of gradually getting more and more comfortable. And it's just awesome. So I'm pretty excited. I'm psyched because I saw this from the very beginning, Thomas.
Yeah. You were the first message.
It was, I'm just excited that you're able to do this. So the more people listen to Thomas, you might notice he's not from the Liverpool area. Let's go ahead and get this out of the way, Thomas. Where are you from?
I'm from Gateshead, which is just outside of Newcastle. So I'm not too far away, but it's definitely not around Liverpool. Right.
I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way before people are like, wait a minute, I'm placing that accent.
Yeah.
That's it. So you're from the Newcastle area. How I catch this question a lot. People stare at me very strangely when I tell them I support Everton. It's actually kind of hilarious. Everybody asks me my story. What is your story? How are you an Everton supporter?
Well, when I was very young, we was out for lunch with my uncle. And my uncle's been an Everton fan since forever. All his family were. So then he just introduced me and I got hooked, basically. It wasn't really my dad or my brother. It was my uncle. I'm not sure why I chose Everton, but here we are now.
So that's a really, it was just kind of like, it just felt right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I picked it over the colour or something. I think I was like 5 or 6. I think it's just because it was blue and we've ended up here. So, yeah.
I totally get that. Because, tipping my hand, I don't pull for any red teams in my entire life. And I'm talking about all sports. I'm talking about like being a young American kid from the South. None of the teams I pull for are red. And it's just weird how it's lined up like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, Bournemouth reaction. 2-0 win for the Blues. Tale of two halves, if you will. Thomas, let's get rolling. Give us your initial thoughts. Not all of your thoughts, but your initial thoughts on our win from Sunday.
Well, for the first 30-35 minutes, we probably all thought it was more the same. We've definitely been on a losing streak recently, and it all seemed to be pretty much going the same way. But then I'm not sure what changed at half-time, but it definitely came out with more momentum. They ended the first half with more momentum as well, and it definitely came out better in the second half, and it showed in the end with the goals.
Yeah. Gosh, that opening like 30 minutes was the worst. That was just straight up. And it really did. You're right. It was familiar. I was like stewing on my couch. I
was definitely dreading trying to have to tweet that because we haven't been winning much while I've been tweeting, and I thought it was just all the same again.
Yeah. It just seemed like a lack of life, except for Ademola Lookman.
Definitely, he was definitely the standout performer for me. I tweeted at half-time, he was easily the best player on the pitch. He was getting us forwards. He was playing the passes that were needed. He was the only one really coming close to creating a chance in the first half, and then definitely starting everything in the second. He was really important.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, he's distributing as well. I always associated Lookman with a kid who cuts in and is looking for a shot, period. And the fact that he's starting to combine more with other players. I mean, he looked pretty good with Coleman down the right.
Yeah, haven't really been seeing much recently.
No, there's been that right side. That right side's just been like a void,
Yeah, definitely.
So, Lookman, I think everybody. I know all of us on the podcast, me, Max, and Terry, we were all saying this is Lookman's game to start. He's got to go this week. He's got to play 90, and he was there.
I think what looked really good for him as well. He didn't just have to stick down the right hand side. He was doing more down the middle. Sometimes came out left as well, which is kind of what we need at the moment because obviously Walcott's not playing well enough. Sigurdsson, he started well. He's maybe been driven off a bit recently. Bernard maybe can't play the full 90 minutes even yet. He's not physical enough. So it's really important that he can play all across. And yeah, he was really impressive.
Yeah, as soon as I saw Walcott coming in, I leaned over to my wife and I'm like, he's going to push Lookman to the left. I was like, I think it's a great idea. He didn't do it at first, though. Walcott actually slipped into the left at first, and I was like, I'm totally wrong, and I'm an idiot. Trying to act like I knew it all to the wife, and I was, But literally 30 seconds later, he pushed out wide like I thought he would. So yeah, went out to the right, and Lookman, and then when DCL came, there was a nice little combination coming from that left side. It looked really nice.
Clearly been playing a lot together, which it was really showing, which maybe we could see that in the future as well if DCL starting, but yeah.
I definitely, the idea of having either of those guys or Richarlison starting on the wing, that's nice. Walcott coming off the bench right now, I think everybody would agree that's the role we want him in right now.
Yeah, he's not a starter at all at the moment.
No.
Yeah, he hasn't been playing well enough.
So I thought one of the headlines is Lookman's play, definitely. There's another headline. It's kind of it may have been a headline that kind of fused the players and the crowd and the attendees of the game together, and that's Anthony Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've seen as much of a united front against a refereeing performance.
Definitely, yeah.
It was just everybody was just like, okay, this is shit, and I'm sorry. This is the way it is. And a lot of times I'm at home and I'm watching, and I've got this NBC bias from some of these commentators who just flat out, they were talking at one point. Silva kind of says, pulls out a card and goes like this, like hey, you should be yellow card. And our commentator actually says that Silva looks ridiculous doing that. And I'm like,
I bet they were supporting Klopp when he was running on the pitch at the end.
Yeah, what a statement! What a ridiculous statement. So I've got all this kind of poisoning my mind, but frankly, watching that, so you're worried when you're watching it. You're like, am I being honest? Is this actually poor refereeing? Is this actually bad? But then it's like I saw everybody else on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's just this wave.
I mean, as bad as the refereeing was, it definitely helped the atmosphere, I thought. With obviously Goodison's renowned for being quite toxic in the past, and that definitely came back against Bournemouth. No one was really happy with anything, and I thought it got everyone up, which was actually a good thing in the end.
Yeah, it fused it all together, and it's weird. Everybody's talking about an angry Goodison.
Yeah.
I guess
it did help, I thought. Yeah,
the right kind of anger, I guess. Yeah, man, that was. I mean, as we've talked about before, when I talk to Max and Terry and whoever else comes on, Paul sometimes, David, Edward, I just gotten to the point where I just assume we're just not going to get decisions. Just assume that's the way it's going to be. And don't expect favors. Just assume we're going to have to play through it, make our own luck, keep going. I feel like if you just have that, Everton versus everybody, maybe that's just a healthy mentality to have. And that way, when you get screwed, it's not really a surprise.
Yeah. I think it was the Chelsea game as well. I don't think the ref was brilliant then either, but in the Merseyside derby, I think his name's Chris Kavanagh. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He was actually really good.
I thought he did a
It was
fine
surprise,
job.
actually. Yeah, I thought he controlled it well.
Yeah.
But with there's some refs in particular who I can't really stand myself. But I actually referee myself, and I meet some of them every now and then. So like John Moss, Kevin Friend, I've met a lot of them, and they've given talks, and it's weird to hear them speak about it from their perspective when I'm busy shouting at them most of the time. But
Interesting.
It's interesting to hear them speaking what it is from their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
John Moss is the most surprising ref I've ever come across. I thought I'd hate him, but he was actually a really sound bloke. I thought it was weird to hear him speak.
That maybe it's the fact that he is a pretty sound guy is why he's continued to be like allowed to continue, because it seems a lot of times like he's behind play, like he's not really keeping up too well, and he's kind of having to guess on some of those decisions. It's
surprising. He looks massive on TV, but he's not actually. He doesn't seem out unfit at all in person. That was the most shocked I was all night. Like when we saw him, it was weird to see, because when you see him on TV, you think he looks old, he looks unfit. You don't really understand how he's there, but he seems fine. He called himself the reliable pair of hands for refereeing at the moment, which obviously shows he's probably coming towards the end of his career. But I think maybe he's been around a bit too long. But he wasn't even the ref. I'm not sure why we're getting off on a tangent.
I know.
About the Bournemouth game.
I just thought it was kind of great. That's my first John Moss story that doesn't relate to him, like missing an offside against Arsenal or something. Note to self: John Moss wears slimming clothing. That's what we've learned.
Definitely looks like better in person.
So, how about our defensive performance? Clean sheet. How do you think that back line did? Pickford did? Just any kind of highlights for you from any of those, or maybe lowlights for you?
Well, I think it was Zuma started quite nervy again. He's made a few mistakes. I think it was Josh King managed to get on the break. And it was looking worrying again, and maybe he wasn't going to have his best game. But I think they came into the game well, and I didn't think Keane did much wrong. I saw someone slating him on Twitter. I'm not really sure why. I don't think he did much wrong. And then obviously Digne, who we'll get onto later, I thought he was great again.
Yeah, I mean, Luka Dean at this point, if he makes a mistake,
let him off.
I just don't see it happening. He just doesn't.
Yeah, definitely.
It just doesn't happen. He just contributes so much on the attack as well, And Zuma got the goal, of course. I mean, it must be nice to be able to go up for a header and no one contests you. If I could jump, I think I would have gotten that one, man. It was just literally just him hanging out. I watched 2 or 3 players that did not track him, that just stood still. It was really bizarre. How do you think Coleman played?
I think a lot better than he has been. I think he's definitely maybe not showed the fitness he used to show. He's definitely getting up and down a lot more, and his crossing's been inaccurate for a long time. But definitely not the old Coleman that we saw, but he's definitely improved a lot, I think. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it was a one-off, but he's definitely got better, I think.
Yeah, I didn't think there was a couple of times where, he had like the stone feet, especially really late. That ball came to him, and it just kind of bounced off of his foot out of bounds for a corner, and you're thinking, didn't really need to give up another corner right now, man.
Maybe his age is showing. It's what we saw happen with Baines towards, well, it's obviously not the end of his career yet, but definitely he's not in the team anymore, which is worrying to see, because John Joe Kenny, he's not a bad player, but I don't think he's enough competition for Seamus Coleman at the moment. We definitely need to look at that in the transfer window.
That's gonna be interesting, that scenario going from now until summer, trying to figure out, are we bringing in a right back, and if so, which one of those guys ends up making way. Not an easy. I think I was talking to a lot of people about the idea of maybe Kenny going on loan the rest of this season and using Coleman to compete with a new right back, and basing our decision in the summer on how well Coleman or the new right back perform, and Kenny wherever he goes. So I agree, though. I didn't think Coleman was bad necessarily.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. He's not as bad as he has been, definitely. I think now he's under a lot more pressure, though, and people are almost waiting for him to make a mistake now. I think that's the problem with him at the moment. Obviously, he hasn't come back as fittest, maybe. He hasn't come back as good as he was, and I think everyone's waiting for him to make a mistake and kind of pounce on it. But I thought he was average
Yeah.
yesterday. Not yesterday, how many days ago it was.
Uh, Actually, let's see here. Yeah, it was yesterday.
It's yesterday now, but when
Oh
this goes
yeah,
out,
yeah,
I
that's
doubt
right.
it'll be.
Yeah, doing the math. Uh, Keane as well had maybe one bad touch that kind of sparked a break from them. And it looked very
Yeah.
similar to that touch that he made. Was it against Leicester? It just kind of it was a one poor
Yeah, I think
touch
it
that
was.
led to their goal. It looked exactly like it actually. Um,
I think it's all the confidence with Keane. Definitely, he lost a lot of it last
mm,
season, and he was awful compared to what we saw at Burnley. But he's definitely brought it back this season, and I think personally, I think he's been our best centre back this season. I think he's been the most consistent because it was before he got his head injury as well. He was doing great, and that's before Mina
yeah.
came in. So before that, I thought he was great, and I think he's come back well.
I know a lot of people won't agree with us, Thomas, but I agree with you. I think
Yeah,
he's been our most consistent center back, and it's quite possible Max and Terry would agree with that too. I talk to them, twice a week. I think they'd agree. Yeah, I speak for them now. I'm just imagining them watching, going, "You idiot! I don't agree with that at all."
he doesn't agree with you at all. Yeah.
But and oh, and that tackle from Keane late. That
Yeah.
was just sorry. It was yeah, that was so good.
Yeah.
That was one of those. That was the squeaky
I mean,
bum time, and Michael Keane makes that tackle. Damn.
it was a great title, but I was tweeting about it at the time. Someone needs to remind me he was on a yellow card as well. He was kind of flying about towards the end. I was getting nervous.
And Gomez somehow stayed in.
Yeah.
You mentioned yellow card. How in the hell did that guy stay in the game? I mean, there's one where
I really
the
don't know.
referee maybe could have done better on that one too. Oddly enough, if I'm gonna be silly.
Yeah, I think one more foul and he had to go off. I'm not sure how he lasted as long as he
Yeah.
did, but I think he was trying to make up for some mistakes he made today. I think, well, not today, but he was letting the ball go a bit here and there. He was making some bad passes, and I think him trying to recover from that led to him almost being sent off, which is a bit
Yeah.
risky.
But you know what? His energy was fantastic. So good. Gomez I thought
Yeah,
he stepped it up energy wise second half, and he wasn't alone. There were you saw a lot more pressing out of a lot of players. Yeah, just a much better second half. I finished that one a little nervous, thinking we might give up a draw just because it wasn't we've done it in the past, but hey, could be a situation where we're pushing through those kind of unreliable moments at the end of games.
it's definitely what we've needed so far this season. It was the game against Bournemouth as well, the season where we bottled
That's
it
right.
towards the end. We were 2-0 up and we just kind of gave it away. But yeah, it was good to see us get through the game.
Any other closing thoughts here on this one?
Not really. Just it's always good to see the managers and the coaches showing passion like they did. Obviously with Allardyce last season, Koeman was never really bothered either. But yeah, you love to see it. Really, it shows they do
What kind
care.
of a dick is Martin Atkinson, by the way, sitting there telling Silva to calm down on the celebration? What is that?
Yeah, I don't understand that. You're always
What
going to do
managers
that.
what other managers is he going to say that to? You know what I mean? It's almost like, well, you know what? You don't manage United, City, Chelsea, so you know what? I got to say something. That's ridiculous. I mean,
I remember it was Chelsea PSG quite a few years ago now, and Mourinho, when they scored last minute, he ran all the way down the touchline. I don't think they had a problem with it then. I don't really understand it. I mean, it's not like Silva came on the
No.
pitch or anything. He was just happy.
no. And I mean, he and Big Dunk were embracing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah, you love to see it.
All right, so I guess that's it for our Bournemouth reaction. So if you've been digging our videos, please subscribe to the Toffee Blues YouTube channel. We'd sincerely appreciate it. If you want more Thomas, well, you can always check the Toffee Blues website for that. However, in the coming I don't know, weeks, months, we're trying to figure out how it works. He's going to have some Football Manager videos dropping. I don't know if you'll be able to see his face during it, but he will be kind of taking you through various scenarios on Football Manager. and is somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with that game, frankly. It's one I could probably get obsessed with really quickly. So I'm looking forward to these. Yeah, it sounds awesome. Thomas, yeah, good stuff, man. Thanks for your first segment, and we'll roll into talking about Richarlison's best position next. So everybody out there, see you soon. Bye.